Bun găsit! Ca de obicei, la ora 17 suntem aici live și discutăm despre evoluțiile din piețele financiare. Te salut, Tiberiu!
Salut, Cătălin! Mă bucur să ne revedem și astăzi și salut și pe cei care sunt alături de noi.
Și pe care îi invităm în chat pentru că vin cei de la InterCapital Asset Management și e interesant de vorbit despre bursa locală, ETF-ul administrat de ei și multe altele, așa că fiți activi. Până atunci, minutul și scorul în Statele Unite, pentru că avem și date macro și a început sezonul ăsta de raportări cu companii care mai interesante. Dacă vorbim de vânzările cu amănuntul, Tiberiu, vedem zero acolo, da, nu e nicio greșeală, au stagnat în iunie. A fost o creștere în mai revizuită pozitiv 0,3 ăla și erau previziuni de scădere cu 0,3. Deci iată să spunem că e bine. Dacă să excludem autovehiculele și piețele de schimb, core, adică avem acolo o creștere cu 0,4% peste așteptări. Tot așa revizuit pozitiv anul trecut. Au început americanii să revizuiască luna trecută, ca INS-ul, așa, iar anual 2,3 respectiv 3,4. Ce s-a vândut mult?
Dacă vă aduceți aminte, au început să revizuiască și la NFP de mult timp, adică nu neapărat indicatorul ăsta, prin urmare asta e. Atâta timp cât e zero, nu cred că supără pe nimeni, nici n-a crescut, nici n-a scăzut, adică nu știu dacă a depășit vreo așteptare. Ok, poate că se prognoza cumva că o să fie mai mici, dar asta e, a rămas aici. Concluzia, sau am putea trage sau să ne facem o idee așa, faptul că cheltuielile de consum încetinesc. Asta este singura sau cea mai importantă concluzie, da? Americanii pare că sunt mai strânși cumva la pungă și încearcă să fie mai temperați în tot ceea ce înseamnă cheltuielile. Acum, ai dat tu cifrele alea vis-a-vis de cât a crescut față de perioada anterioară. Doar să zic așa, vânzările din benzinării, asta e o parte importantă a acestui indicator în Statele Unite, pe care îl precizăm de fiecare dată. Au înregistrat o scădere, minus 3%. Și avem încă o scădere, vânzările pentru autoturisme. Am văzut acolo și aici o scădere importantă, minus 2,3%. În schimb, am văzut creșteri pentru alte sectoare, pentru alte articole și așa mai departe. Printre cele mai importante am văzut acolo la construcții, materiale de construcție, adică ceva care ține de sectorul imobiliar. Am văzut și la partea de electronice, electrocasnice și așa mai departe. Deci unele, bineînțeles că poate au depășit așteptările, însă scăderile fiind atât de mari din celelalte sectoare, practic au compensat și au ras orice creștere din alt sector. Fără benzină, dacă e să excludem această parte a acestui indicator, vânzările au crescut cu 0,2% după o creștere de 0,5% în luna mai. Deci, așteptăm să vedem ce se mai întâmplă de aici încolo. Poate că odată cu scăderea dobânzilor s-ar putea să revină cumva apetitul pentru cheltuieli. Dar mai e până atunci.
Să vedem, mai e până că au tot cheltuit mult prea mult până acum. În Europa să trecem puțin să vedem cum stăm cu sentimentul economic, zona euro, respectiv Germania. Și am văzut că au scăzut și pentru zona euro și pentru Germania sub așteptări. De exemplu, indicatorul ăsta ZEW de la maxim ultimilor 3 ani totuși în zona euro. Deci venim de la 51,3 la 43,7, da? Dar pe de altă parte pentru Germania a scăzut în iulie pentru prima dată în ultimul an. Știi că în Germania era pe creștere și a fost o perioadă bună. Suntem totuși la cifre mai mici, dar să vedem ce va fi aici. Vorbeam noi ieri și de Banca Centrală Europeană.
Surprinzător, da, asta pentru Germania și asta e mai important decât cel din zona euro. Avem 41,8 puncte, în scădere cu 5,7 puncte, da, față de valoarea din iunie și am văzut că, și comentariul și comunicatul de presă care a fost dat de ZEW spune acolo că evaluarea situației economice din Germania, una peste alta, ca și concluzie așa, nu e nici neapărat albă, nici măcar neagră. Ei spun că s-a îmbunătățit puțin, poate că o văd cu o altă perspectivă. Însă, per total, la nivelul întregii economii, așa ca și concluzie, perspectivele economice se pare că se înrăutățesc. Pentru prima dată, după cum ai spus și tu, în ultimul an, și așteptările economice pentru Germania de aici încolo se pare că sunt în scădere. Exporturile se pare că au scăzut mai mult decât se aștepta în luna mai. Dacă mai adăugăm la asta, știm foarte bine și incertitudinea politică din țara vecină, respectiv din Franța.
Da.
La care, dacă mai adăugăm, bineînțeles, și ceea ce se întâmplă cu neclaritatea asta sau tot așa incertitudinea pe care BCE-ul o ține și planează asupra scăderilor dobânzilor în perioada următoare, toate astea cumva puse cap la cap au contribuit la această răutățire, ca zic așa, a perspectivelor.
Bun. Hai să mergem repede pe Wall Street pentru că vin rezultate una după altul și deocamdată a început sezonul raportărilor bine, chiar foarte bine a început, adică vedem niște cifre peste așteptări. Hai să vorbim de Goldman Sachs care ne arată un profit peste așteptări, o dublare practic a profitului, nu? S-a depășit așteptările și ce a contribuit aici nu e nicio surpriză. Am văzut și ieri celelalte bănci și se vede foarte clar acolo.
Chiar mai mult de dublu, dacă ne uităm pe linia de profit, avem acolo un 150%, rezultate foarte bune, spun ei, și se vede de fapt și din cifre, creștere puternică a profitului net în al doilea trimestru. În continuare, conform anumitor statistici, am văzut că Goldman Sachs ocupă locul 1 în clasamentul la nivel mondial pentru tot ceea ce înseamnă partea de fuziuni și achiziții. Deci ei sunt cam vioara întâi, așa, care se ocupă în continuare de asta. Bineînțeles că au depășit estimările atât din punct de vedere al profitului cât și din punct de vedere al veniturilor. În principal se pare că pe seama activității de tranzacționare a instrumentelor cu venit fix, adică descul de debt, de obligațiuni, ca zic așa, a mers foarte bine. Din punct de vedere financiar, veniturile 12,73 miliarde de dolari plus 17% față de aceeași perioadă anului trecut, dar cu 10% mai mici decât primul trimestru din 2024. Acum, fiecare face comparația și o ia de bună pe cea pe care, nu știu, care îi convine. Deci mai bine față de anul trecut, mai prost față de Q1 din anul ăsta. Creșterea față de trimestrul anului trecut a venit în principal din venituri mai mari, am văzut, din divizia de Global Banking, Market și Asset Management. Asset Management plus Wealth Management. La nivelul profitabilității, după cum spuneam, puțin peste 3 miliarde de dolari, adică o creștere de 150% an pe an și câștigul pe acțiune în jur de 8,6 dolari, comparativ doar cu 3 dolari cât a fost anul trecut, dar mai puțin decât 11,6 aproape cât a fost în primul trimestru al anului ăsta. Doar două detalii să mai dau aici, câteva de fapt. Veniturile din Global Banking Markets, puțin peste 8 miliarde de dolari în creștere cu 14%. Goldman Sachs a crescut comisioanele, nu este singura bancă, am văzut și celelalte bănci de investiții au crescut comisioanele și taxele pe care le percep ca și advisory când acordă companiilor și taxele pe segmentul de investiții bancare, 1,7 miliarde de dolari cu 21% mai mari față de aceeași perioadă a anului trecut. La fel, din asset management, aproape 4 miliarde de dolari plus 27% și asta, deci o creștere foarte bună. Din punct de vedere al provizioanelor pentru riscuri de credit sau pentru pierderi din credit, doar 280 de milioane de dolari, comparativ cu vreo 600 cât a fost în perioada anului trecut. Deci, pe de o parte, și-a sporit veniturile și pe de altă parte ține riscul sub control. Cel puțin până acum se pare că Goldman Sachs face foarte bine treaba asta. Și ar mai fi de punctat aici faptul că în urmă cu câteva zile Consiliul de Administrație a aprobat creșterea dividendului cu 9% în trimestrul următor, adică în trimestrul al treilea al anului ăsta. Deci, din punctul ăsta de vedere, putem spune că este sau că ar deveni din ce în ce mai atractivă. Dacă e să ne uităm și la randamentul dividendului, mai punem și creșterea, arată bine, zic eu.
Da, arată bine și crește puternic de tot, extrem de puternic crește, mai ales în ultimele săptămâni. Iată, după ce a spart zona asta ne uităm în spate, de ce? Pentru că au fost maxime istorice aici la finalul lui 2021 și vedeți când a revenit în 2024, la începutul anului ăsta, s-a chinuit câteva săptămâni bune ca să treacă, ba chiar s-a întors înapoi și părea o străpungere falsă aici, doar că a ținut zona, a fost rezistență, a ținut ca suport, iată, și de aici a plecat o creștere extrem de violentă, cu un prim val aici până în mai, după aia a fost o corecție, evoluție laterală, o consolidare și bubuie în ultimul timp și trece până toate așteptările mele aici. 439 chiar a fost trecut de mult, 470, 90, depășim 500, 520 ar fi următorul. Dar un singur lucru, ok, suntem pe canalul ăsta, ne apropiem de totuși limita superioară și mai e o limită superioară, cumva dacă unim maximele astea de care vorbeam la început, se face aici un mare canal și e posibil să avem totuși o zonă de rezistență. 500 a devenit un prag important, să vedem, va consolida deasupra, de desubt, va fi foarte interesant, dar a crescut foarte mult în ultima perioadă.
Bun, hai să ne uităm acum și peste cel mai mare asset manager din lume, BlackRock.
Tot peste așteptări rezultate.
Tot peste așteptări, da, beneficiază cumva de traiectoria asta a pieței de acțiuni din Statele Unite și, bineînțeles că fiind cel mai mare și având expunere acolo, au beneficiat și de inflow-uri foarte mari de bani în al doilea trimestru al anului ăsta. Practic piața asta, trendul ascendent al pieței în curs de desfășurare a făcut ca ei să-și consolideze cumva poziția în piață. O cifră foarte importantă care trebuie menționată de la bun început, din punct de vedere al activelor în administrare, au mai depășit încă un record de un all-time high, putem să spunem și în cazul lor, 10,6 sau 10,65 trilioane de dolari sau 10.600 de miliarde de dolari. Deci
trilioane,
cu 1,2 trilioane mai mult decât a fost în aceeași perioadă a anului trecut. Fondul am văzut că a înregistrat cele mai puternice intrări pe segmentul de ETF-uri, da? 83, puțin peste 83 de miliarde de dolari, cele care au legătură cu piața de capital, adică cu acțiunile în general, cu equity, au fost cele mai performante și sunt cam jumătate din suma asta, în jur de 44 de miliarde de dolari. Pe locul secund s-au situat ETF-urile care au expunere pe instrumente cu venit fix și aici intrările fiind în jur de 34, aproape 35 de miliarde de dolari. Bineînțeles că toate astea se văd și în rezultatele financiare ale companiei, că altfel nu se poate. Veniturile totale 4,8 miliarde plus 8% față de aceeași perioadă a anului trecut. Avem și o creștere organică a comisioanelor de bază, 9% față de Q2 2024. Din punct de vedere al profitului operațional, acolo ajustat 1,88 miliarde de dolari, o marjă foarte bună, 44%, chiar peste 44%, o profitabilitate la fel foarte bună și în creștere, plus 11%, avem 1,55 de miliarde și bineînțeles câștigul pe acțiune și el ajustat. Am să le pun pe planșă în versiune ajustată pentru că așa le-a scos în față și compania față de cele standard și am văzut că și presa internațională tot pe astea le ia. Se pare că sunt mai aproape de ceea ce se întâmplă în companie, pentru că întotdeauna partea ajustată exprimă mai bine, să zic așa, sănătatea companiei. Deci una peste alta, traiectoria este bună până acum pentru BlackRock și inflow-urile mari de bani au ajutat-o să atingă cifrele astea bune și foarte bune.
Da, spectaculoase de-a dreptul. Să vedem și aici că evoluția, pentru că e una la fel de interesantă. E o diferență, dar sunt niște pattern care se respectă pe piața financiară, pe sectorul ăsta financiar, bănci de investiții, asset manager și multe alte, pentru că vedeți, fostul suport a devenit o rezistență mult timp și odată spartă are liber la creștere, doar că zona asta a fost extrem de vizată de trader, pentru că, vedeți, n-a trecut foarte, foarte mult timp. Practic, de la începutul 2022 până la finalul anului trecut, n-a reușit să depășească zona asta și cum a depășit-o, iarăși, ca dincolo, părea că se întoarce de desubt, dar a acționat ca suport și nici nu a mai fost creștere aici, dar este perioada aia de consolidare, să spunem, după ce a depășit o zonă, confirmă suportul și consolidează aici, se acumulează și vedeți, după aia crește, dar pare că acest 837 dolari pe acțiune este o rezistență, pentru că nu trece de ea. Dar în momentul în care va trece, sunt șanse să vedem din nou să schimbe prefixul la 900 aici, în noiembrie 2021, maxim istoric, dar, cum spunea și Tiberiu, la ce au
sub aripă, nu?
Exact, la ce controlează ei, evident că poate și prețul și cotația va crește, să vedem și în funcție de rezultate, dar Tiberiu, noi vorbeam de multe ori, ei influențează piețele de multe ori și stabilesc anumite trenduri, deci mai degrabă sunt interesați de trendurile în care investesc decât trendul pe acțiunea lor, ca să spunem așa.
Da, acțiunea lor e o consecință a faptului că, mă rog, sunt o companie listată și fac și bani de aici, adică, mă rog, bani, foarte mulți bani, pentru că și noi avem fonduri care sunt la noi, fonduri de investiții, de fapt în România, dar nu e niciunul listat. Mă rog, avem doar ETF-uri care sunt listate și chiar asta o să și vorbim și în emisiunea de astăzi împreună cu invitații noștri, tot despre evoluția
care
ETF-urilor.
sunt alături de noi, dar trebuie să-și deschidă camerele și să intre live aici.
Îi așteptăm să vină imediat, poate că mai au ceva de făcut și de
Până intră, să spunem că, apropo că spuneai tu de Europa ieri, de Banca Centrală Europeană, și prietenul nostru Jerome Powell a vorbit ieri la Forumul Economic de la Washington și aceeași tatonare. Dom'le, stai puțin să vedem până nu ajunge. Dar a zis o chestie interesantă, a zis că nu așteaptă, deci am mai spus-o cu alte cuvinte, că Fedul nu se aștepte să ajungă inflația la 2%. Adică se pare clar că au căpătat încredere cu scăderile astea de inflație și vor începe reducerile de dobândă și piața, am spus-o noi ieri, așteaptă chiar 3 reduceri anul ăsta, prima fiind în septembrie.
Da.
Deci,
chiar am văzut și chiar am ascultat interviul, mi s-a părut destul de siropos pe de o parte așa, și întrebările care au fost puse de David Rubinstein, care e foarte cunoscut și foarte titrat în genul ăsta de interviuri. El a făcut foarte multe interviuri cu multe personalități. Mă rog, pentru cine e interesat chiar ar putea să se uite, este foarte, foarte interesant. Bun,
okay.
Hai să revenim. La noi, pentru că nu îi avem alături de noi.
Sunt alături de noi, da. Divo Pulitika, let's say hello to him and to Ivan Kurtovic. Hello, Divo.
Hi, hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Daily show about financial markets, feel the markets. Hello. Also, Ivan is together now with us. Hello, Ivan.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you, Ivan. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome to Feel the Markets.
We discussed about BlackRock and we saw revenues, we saw profits on ETFs and so and so. ETFs, everybody talk, everybody invest, everybody speak about ETF. So we can discuss with you together with what you make in InterCapital. Why is this ETF mania, let's say now?
But I would say that this ETF mania, if you can call it like that, started more than a decade ago, or I would say maybe even 2 decades ago, when it really became, I would say, very, very broad-based. Why? Because simply investors became much more educated than what they used to be. Basically, financial market also opened up. Also apps, so application, digital apps became more like normality than, exception. And basically with, taking it all into consideration, simply ETF became, like the top products for basically everybody. They are extremely transparent, so you know what are you buying, some kind of asset class, geography-wise, some kind of sector or anything specific. Then, they are very, very, efficient, meaning, cost competitive. And then at the end, they are easily accessible, as I said, especially through various apps. And then if you add up that those apps are usually offering those ETFs for, I don't know, €1, a few euros or something like that. So that makes, the feeling for people that, it's here. You can buy it.
Okay, let's move forward and let's talk a little bit, and maybe you can speak what's happening in the main market in this world. I mean, in America, because we already know, everybody knows that America is leading the way, and they are showing us all the trends in the markets, in financial markets, and their market, ETF market, actually, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. There are trillions of dollars over there. Let's start our discussion with the first slide, and please tell us your overview about the American market.
So basically, yes, that's true. America is always leading the way. They are setting the standards. Basically, Europe is usually following, not necessarily always, but usually it is the case. So what you can see here, this is basically inflows, but also outflows from either regular funds or ETFs. And what we can see here that basically the regular funds, so classic mutual funds, are basically losing their stream. So basically we have certain outflows, and basically those outflows are somehow, growing from year to year. Then on the other side, the red lines or the red part, you can see that actually what has been lost or decreased or redeemed from mutual funds, basically that money entered into the ETFs. The second slide, what you have showed is basically the trend. And the trend, it is not just about ETFs, the trend is also about passive. So basically, people are much more nowadays inclined into the passive strategies. Why? Because, active really over the last couple of years, but I would say even more a decade, didn't perform that well. So then there are a number of articles, but also various research is done on those active versus passive, and basically, bundling passive, low fees, accessibility versus, higher fees, active, and then basically buying to a certain extent some black boxes. Basically, passive is prevailing. Passive is prevailing predominantly into the equity strategies. So basically, more than 50% of those new inflows goes into the passive funds, into equities. So fixed income is catching up, still not at the same level, but we believe that fixed income will do catch up as well on that respect. Yes, please.
That's the slide you're talking about earlier about the fixed income. That's actually a comparison what is in the equity and in the fixed income. Active strategies are being reborn through ETFs. Yeah, but maybe you told a little bit earlier. Why are people more interested actually in passive strategies? Are they tired of following the market trends, or it's easier for them just to invest in an ETF and that's all? That's it.
I would say it's simplicity and it is transparency. So first of all, I know you are bullish on US tech stocks. Simply, the ETF you want to buy, and you got diversified portfolio of US tech stocks. So, with the active funds, usually, yes, you have the teams, and basically you can get exposed to something similar. But then again, the fund manager, so the person is the one that is usually selecting the stocks that can be good, but might not necessarily be good. So who is invested and why are you invested? And then, why you sell something at the peak, because maybe, there might not be the peak, because, what we saw over the last year and a half, NVIDIA continues to go up. Whether it's fundamentally okay or not, we are not discussing it now, but anyhow, it's going up. And if you are invested in ETF that has broader portfolio of US tech stocks, basically you are bearing the fruits, diversified fruits out of that.
But it's very interesting because Europe is following the trends, yes, but we see the percent of the assets is going, targeting Europe is going down year by year. Why?
Yes, that's true. Basically, Europe as a market, I would argue that it's more like value market. So people, when they go when they invest on capital markets, they are aiming for growth. The growth usually, over last decade in particular, were in US. So as a share of global capital markets, actually US stands at really the highest number. In highest percentage, and basically the number of ETFs in Europe, it's chasing up versus US, but basically the volume is down. Why? What you can see it here from this current slide. So the number of portfolios being invested in Europe is decreasing. Simply, Europe is not that attractive. People are asking for growth. Europe cannot deliver that growth. or it can deliver growth, but not as much as, for instance, in this particular case, US was delivering over last decade plus.
But the numbers we see in Romania, in Croatia, and Eastern Europe are not numbers we like to see. This is a big problem now. Why is this? Because we start later, because we have potential about what you said before.
Yes, absolutely. So this was more like a broader picture of Europe. When it comes to the region, we are always in InterCapital highlighting that we are really very, very positive on the regional macro. Having said that, if the top-down picture looks bright and nice, we need to dig a bit down. And basically, the bottom-up picture looks also very, very nice. And we believe that our region, so both Croatia, Slovenia, Romania, but also Greece as a market really looks very, very interesting at the moment. Basically, ETFs are just catching up. For instance, in Croatia, ETFs are approximately 7 to 8% of the overall volume traded on the stock exchange. We are really proud that basically this 7% consists of 5 ETFs that we have launched. But anyhow, for instance, we really see decent opportunity in Romania, where the volume of ETFs traded is basically plus minus 2%. So just to put it into a broader context, in Europe, it is approximately 10, UK it's 15%, in US ETF traded on the stock exchange, it's roughly 1/3 of the overall volume.
Okay, before we are switching to Romania, because this is actually our main part of main discussion, I would like to ask you, how do you see actually, or what are your views, on the current economic and market conditions in Romania before we dig deep into the ETF market?
Yeah, very on a high level. We are, as I said earlier, we are very, very positive on the Romanian market. We see that the macro the GDP-wise, the macro is really positive. Basically, if you compare it versus the rest of Europe, even last 10 years, last 5 years, Romanian even marked like double growth versus the EU average. Obviously, there are some challenges mainly coming from this double deficit that is visible, but this is more, I would say, on the how to say fixed income side, and more on the how to say the spread is basically reflecting spread of Romanian government bonds versus or yield versus like benchmark bonds. It's visible that it's higher, and it is higher among else because of that. But anyhow, we see really significant growth going forward. We see convergence playing there as well. Investment from both government, but also EU-wise through EU funds. And we believe that those imbalances will also shrink in the future. Valuation-wise, valuations are really very, very attractive. So, we are talking here about price earnings of plus minus 10 or 10 below. The only market that you can see something similar is basically Slovenia, but also Greece in the region. And it makes us also very, very positive also on the equity side as well.
Yeah, before we jump to that slide, because we also have one with valuation, which is very clear, but I will put it a little bit later. Let's talk a little bit about the BET index, because this is what you are actually following in your ETF. And we already know that BET, unfortunately, has a few sectors. It's heavily exposed actually to energy. It has some finance, banks, and everything else. It's at others, which very small percentages. How do you see this distribution in BET index, and actually why did it catch your attention? Yeah, because this is a question.
Yeah. So that's a good observation. BET is very much different than the rest of the world or the regional indices. As you mentioned, that these sectors, that's true. BET is very concentrated into energy and banks, and obviously this means that there will be periods in time when this is a good thing and periods of time when this is a bad thing. For the last years, actually, we've been following and investing in Romania for a long time. And actually, since Romania started from such a low point, both valuation-wise and GDP-wise, the growth in both the economy and then the catch-up in valuations dragged all of this upwards, right? So this wasn't even that much connected to the sectors. As Romania is becoming recognized by more and more investors, this is becoming more and more of an important topic. At this moment, we believe that the sectors you expose yourselves through Romania are actually in a great position, and this is one of the reasons why we chose this time to actually create an ETF in Romania and offer it both to Croatia, Slovenia, Romania as of recently, and why we intend to bring it even further away. Mm-hmm. So if we look at the specific sectors, so energy at this point, actually, following what happened with Russia and how Europe is trying to actually get rid of that kind of suppliers, Romania here is in a very good position to actually become one of the larger exporters to Europe, and especially with what's been going on in the Black Sea. So the Neptune Deep project will really put Romania even more on the map of exporters.
So this is the main reason you choose Romania, because of the energy and the context, no? Because if it was other context, the composition was different, maybe it was another image.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, whenever we launch an ETF, we obviously want it to be at a time when we believe it's good to have it. To be quite honest, it helps with promoting the ETF and the market if you have some good stories to tell. And we believe that we really have good stories in Romania. So both in terms of the traditional, let's call it oil and gas sectors within the energy, so OMV, Petrom, Romgaz, and so on. But also not to forget that about half of Romanian energy sector is comprised of what we could call green energy, or what Europe and the European regulation calls green. So it's hydro and nuclear electric as well. So both of these subsectors, so to say, separately have very good prospects going into the future. Then there's the banks. About a quarter of the index is the banks, and banks probably many of your viewers know that right now they're in one of the better, maybe even the best situations that they've been in the last decades, where actually the exchange rates have been going up. And actually this way their interest margin is increasing. So this is also a very good position for them, especially taking into account that the economies are still strong. So these high interest rates have not caused NPLs, non-performing loans, problem returning what you borrowed, and so on. So this is a very good situation for the banks, and all this combined, we believe Romania was a good story.
Okay,
you mentioned the rest.
Yeah. This imagine we have these numbers maybe is more now because they go up last 2 months, but when you see a problem, or it's comfortable if the pricing ratio, I don't know, goes 14 like in DAX, maybe goes like in Croatia, or 15. How you see?
We always compare it to the rest. So at this moment, if you look at Romania, comparing it to similar markets, you can see that it's way below. Actually, Romania and Slovenia. Slovenia is also one of the markets where we have a local ETF. Those are the, let's say, the winners. The other two have some challenges, I would say so, or things that the investors find hard to recognize. But yeah, we compare it to the rest. And if you look into this slide, for example, you can see that there's still like a 2 times earning to catch up to MSCI Frontier. And that's the part of the world, so to say, where Romania is put at this moment. But then if we look at MSCI Emerging, for example, where Romania could be in some time, we see that it's traded at about 16 times earnings. So this would be something that where Romania could come in some time, perhaps. And up to this point, we would be thinking that this could be a fair price for those companies. If obviously it went above that to 20 or 30, something we see in the US, taking into account the different growth rates between profits, we would probably say that, okay, this is too much for Romania right now. Let's reconsider.
Yeah. Romanian market is also well known for its actually being a dividend payer, because almost all the companies in betting this and in our market actually are paying very good dividends. And as you may already know, some energy companies, or actually almost all the energy companies listed on Bucharest Stock Exchange, have the Romanian government behind them, and they are all every year they are demanding dividends. And the payout ratio, as far as I know, was 50%. In some cases, it was 90% actually, or in one case, I guess this year in Hidroelectrica, it was around 100%. All the profit went through dividends. How do you see this policy of companies that actually are willing to pay a lot of dividends to their shareholders, and if this is I don't know, is a strong point or not? Actually, is a weak point. How do you see it?
Well, it depends on the point of development of the company. If you have a stable company that's reached its, let's say, potential and so on, it obviously doesn't need new capital if it doesn't have new projects where it could invest and grow further. So in that case, we believe that a higher dividend payment is good because it optimizes your capital structure and it also returns whatever your investors have invested before that. On the other hand, you have like right now in Romania, you have huge projects with some of the companies. So I mentioned OMV Petrom, Romgaz also is part of that. Once this is done, the structure, the infrastructure will also might need some investments and so on. So
just a quick question here. Just a quick question here regarding the companies in energy sector. Being regulated very strong by the government, it implies a lot of risks, and we already know that there are taxes that the government actually changes them overnight, and it has a huge impact on the P&L of the company. So how do you manage, or how do you track the risk, let's say, associated with investing in Romania on the local market? Because you're actually not from here, you're from abroad, and you have to be very, very, very clear and very specific about our companies. Is it difficult?
It is a challenge, although I wouldn't say we are complete foreigners. So we've been investing in Romania for over a decade. So we feel like maybe halfway there to be locals. But definitely, even for us, it's a challenge to track everything that's been going on. And then if it's a challenge for us, you can imagine that it's an even bigger challenge for actual foreign investors who have no day-to-day connection to the country. So definitely this kind of changing tax policy, but not only tax, everything related to companies is part of the reason why from time to time some of the foreign investors might steer clear from Romania or not invest as much as they would have otherwise, because they don't have this certainty. They don't maybe feel safe that the story today will be the same in a year or 2 years' time.
Okay, comparing with other markets, what is the image of local stock exchange in the region? You know very well, but your personal point of view.
It's been changing a lot. So when I started working in
a lot, but not enough, huh?
Not enough, definitely. Yeah. When I started working, and so when I got out of college, I had a picture of Romania in my head, which was, I imagined some level of development that was way below Croatia, for example, and a lot more catch up to do. And I wasn't aware of actually the high growth that the country was going through. And I believe that a lot of foreign investors have the same picture. What did happen in the last decade and maybe more, a very good thing you had and still have is Fondul and everything that they do to promote the market. The local stock exchange has been very active actually compared to some other exchanges in the region, and they've really managed to promote the country. As I said, there's still a lot of catch-up to do, but the conferences and the constant visits to investors actually helps them get an idea of what's going on in the country. See, that's a country that's really approaching EU averages in many terms quite quickly. And that's why more and more of them are interested.
But comparing with Croatia, we have 100,000, let's say, more or less, investor population, 20 millions. In Croatia, how is this percent?
If I may answer that part, so I would say Croatia, to a number of parameters, basically on the relative terms, looks very, very similar to Romania. So, for instance, our daily turnover is plus minus, like million, 1.2 million, 1.5, but anyhow, we are 4 million. If you multiply this number, for instance, with 5, because the overall population in Romania, it's around 20 million, so 18 million. You come to the number that is close to 10 or maybe a bit below, and basically your volume traded on the stock exchange, it is around in between 10, 12, maybe 15 or 18 million per day. So I would say the level of development in comparison to Croatia at the moment, I mean, infrastructure-wise, financial market, it's pretty much similar. But we believe that, taking into consideration the country size, but also, potential, what Divo just mentioned, with the development further, there is really decent growth opportunity and basically decent catch-up opportunity versus the rest of this, like New Europe, if we can call it like that.
Also, you don't have derivative market, like us.
No. Yes, we know we don't have it. Basically, just the ETF started 2020 when we first launched it. Obviously, we had ETFs before, but anyhow, we believe that all that should follow. Croatia, for instance, I would say this was pretty much similar as in Romania until 2008, until great financial crisis. So there is really like a bunch of retail investors that were investing almost exclusively to the local markets. I mean, the lessons learned until then, back then, it was you need to diversify. And basically what we are continuously promoting with investors, it is about this financial literacy, and it is also about, not having single country, not having single sector, but basically for investors to approach like diversified assets, so to have US equity, but also to have some home equity as well. And fine-tune it with the percentages.
Okay, let's jump to the last subject, which is a hot topic for us. Maybe for you in the future, I don't know, which is related to the markets we are actually in. So Romania is already emerging market on FTSE Russell criteria, but we aim to enter also MSCI, also emerging market. But as far as I know and we know, actually so far, we do not meet a lot of criteria, and our companies, those few companies that we are depending on, are struggling actually to meet all the criteria. What do you think about this, or what do you think it will happen in the future with our passing to MSCI market?
Well, if I had to make a bet on the bet, I would say that it will go into emerging, as you will see on these slides. So actually the criteria that are hardest to meet, that's the market cap and free float, they are actually already met. So we'll only need 3 companies meeting this. And what's left actually is meeting the third criteria, and that's volumes traded as a percentage of the free float. And in this regard, we only have one company actually that's meeting this, it's Hydroelectrica, but there are others who are actually quite close to this. So if on those names we see like a 10% increase in turnover in volumes traded, this would meet the criteria. And this is not something that's impossible to reach. So as you can see here, Banca Transilvania and Petrom actually are very close
You
there.
know, it's not impossible, but seems to be difficult.
It seems to be difficult, yeah, but I mean, it's we are still not there. If it were a completely clear case, so if we were 100% certain that this would happen, then I guess a lot of more foreign investors would already be here in anticipation of this. So there are risks related to this, obviously. But as I said, if we compare this to some other regional markets where we have one or not even one company even meeting the market cap requirement, then we can really say that it's quite close there. For example, as I said, Petrom and Romgaz, if their turnover increases by only 10%, we are there. So I would expect this to happen at some point.
Yeah, we are there, you know.
Yeah.
or actually, we hope to be there. I don't know, in the near future. Yeah.
If I may just add one point.
Please.
The sound capital markets always consist of local institutional investors, local retail, but also foreign institutional investors. Basically, broader this new Europe, I mean, this frontier Europe or emerging Europe markets, including Croatia, Slovenia, but also Romania, simply no foreign institutional investors, they flew out. I mean, when Ukrainian war started, they flew out, when there was a COVID crisis, and then every time, a bit of them left. Basically, I think there is a lot of work to do. What Divo has mentioned, FP, so Fondul, a great job, BVB, so Bucharest Stock Exchange still does a great job, but there is an aim of all of us. So brokers, institutional investors, everybody to actively promote the market. And basically, this is how we see that this turnover could appear or could increase on the stock exchange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were talking about our market and the brokers. Actually, 10 years, 15 years ago, there were more brokers, a lot of brokers than now. Right now we have active something like, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe 20 brokers. Yeah. And in total, I guess there are less than 30, but all the market, I guess it is concentrated in the first 5 or 6 positions. So it's quite difficult for other brokers to actually survive in this competition because all the commissions are quite low and they cannot actually catch up with the spendings and so on. That's why it's difficult.
We have a lot of questions in chat, Tiberiu, but before I have only one. Do you have plans to launch other ETFs? We discuss about sectors, economic sectors. I don't know, or other markets, IT. I'm thinking, what are your plans?
So we have a plans to develop the whole line of business. As I said, I mean, ETF as a business. So at the moment we have 5 ETFs. I saw here the question about bond ETF because we have a Romanian euro denominated government bond ETF as well. So we do plan to list it by the year end, depending on the regulatory approvals, but also we plan to list one additional ETF that we are now contemplating to launch. So we believe that by the year end, we will be able to list some more ETFs. On the sector one, obviously, yes, they are interesting, but it's not easy to make it because anyhow, for ETF, you need to have a certain benchmark. Or ideally, you would need to have a benchmark. And basically, for the region, you don't have even a benchmark for equity as such, not to mention sectorial one. So it is really pioneering job. We are talking with a number of different both providers, but also stakeholders, in general about the topic. But anyhow, it's not an easy job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have another 5 or 6 minutes. We actually are a little bit over our time, but let's take another question. I think also you see them in chat. Let's take a little bit from or which one should we take?
This one with passive investing. If it's a market bubble now, your opinion?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Because this DCA buying also on ETFs.
Yeah, it's how to say it's a wonderful question. So we are always, how to say, twisting our brain, when it comes to the crisis, whether there will be any kind of like snowball effect. But basically, what we are happening what we are seeing at the moment is basically snowball effect, but on the positive side. So just recently we met with one German market maker, big European actually market maker, and they told us, in Germany there are 10 million of like saving products that are linked to ETFs, and on average, clients are investing like 200 euros per month. So if you multiply those 200 euros by 10 million people, you end up with decent amount of money that every month, beginning of the month, are invested in various like ETFs. Sometimes it is DAX, sometimes all country index world, sometimes it is just the S&P. So this is just example of Germany. So yes, passive is really like big. Passive is to a certain extent driving market. It is also challenge once the market started rolling off in some kind of crisis as well. But anyhow, I would say that people are becoming much more educated, and basically they perceive that crisis and correction of the market are more opportunity to add, but rather than exit opportunity from the market. Because yes.
Yeah, just a quick question, because I really don't know. Maybe we can clarify it. If your ETF benefits from the Romanian legislation on tax on reinvested dividends, or how does it comply with the Romanian tax regulation? Is it the same as the other ETFs that are listed on the market, or is a little bit different? Sorry.
Yeah, so basically in Croatia, like any, for instance, dividends that we receive in Croatia for instance, Croatian or Slovenian companies that are fully tax exempt. So basically the fund received the dividends basically as fund owners or, the unit holders. They are beneficiary and basically they are exempt from paying any kind of dividends. In Romania, this is still not the case. So we are now addressing that and working on it, and we believe that we would be able to resolve this issue.
Was it difficult for you to actually authorize this ETF in Romania? And how do you perceive the authorities that you are actually talking to in Romania? How do you find them?
I would really say what I'm always stressing to any kind of conferences or any kind of online presence that we are really, we had very, very, nice welcome, in Romania from all the stakeholders. So it is not just about, regulatory body, but also stock exchange, also Depozitarul Central. So all the people really, they were really very, very supportive. We understood that, our case being the first foreign fund being listed on the stock exchange was not, an easy job. But anyhow, it took us a bit of time, but at the end, we are here and we are committed to be here, but also to bring some new ETFs to the market.
Okay, I have a last question about the bet, about the Romanian market. What's your expectation for the future? We see a strong trend, a positive trend now. What to expect? Okay,
Yes.
we are global, connected. We know United States, Europe, but special for bet. What's your personal point of view?
If I may take this one. So personally, I'm very optimistic about BET. Two things to be considered here. One is the potential to actually grow earnings. I think that this will especially happen once the Black Sea project goes online. We'll see a lot of those companies that are directly involved will have obviously direct benefits, but there should also be spillover effects. This plus the fact that the green energy is becoming more and more popular in Europe, I believe that long term there is a growth trend in earnings. And then taking into account, even if the valuations stay where they are, so about 10 times earnings, this is something that could pull the index up even more. However, I would expect, unless there is a global correction, a crisis or something, I would believe that the Romanian multiples actually converge to some more developed markets, especially if we see a reclassification to the emerging. I believe that this could be an additional push actually for the entire index.
And the last question from my side, we know that in Romania you're distributing it, or actually Investmental, our broker, somehow helped you coming here to Romania. What's your connection with Investmental, and how do they fit in this connection with you?
So I may take this question. So yes, Investmental is our partner basically in Romania. Investmental is official broker license, and also very keen to develop the retail market. They approach it also from a bit different angle, more going into both education, but also providing this digital access. This is all what we as a company are doing on our home ground, so in Croatia, but also in Slovenia. So somehow our vision collide, and this is how we form the partnership, the agreement, basically for them to become our official partner. We are really very, very, proud, but also happy to have it. And as I said, we believe that we can extend this business as well to some other products that we plan to list on the exchange.
Okay, we are at the end. Divo, Ivan, thank you very much. Good luck with your business. Good luck with your investments. New ETFs we expect here on the Romanian market, and hope to see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Have a nice day.
Încheiem aici ediția de astăzi. Vă așteptăm mâine la aceeași oră. Seară plăcută și profitabilă. Goodbye.
Goodbye.